Hi, I'm Juliet Cowley, a retired FBI profiler and host of the true crime podcast, The Consult, Real FBI Profilers. If you're fascinated with true crime and criminal profiling, then join us as we discuss real cases and examine the behavior exhibited before, during, and after the commission of the crime. You can listen to The Consult wherever you get your podcasts. It's as close as it gets to being in the room with the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 438 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about you?
I am doing great. We mentioned it on TCAT, but, you know, CrimeCon's coming up very quickly.
Around the corner.
It's in what? April? May?
May.
It's in May in Las Vegas. If you're going and you're going to order your tickets on CrimeCon, use our code TCAT, TCATT. You'll save a little money off your standard badges.
Yeah, and maybe we'll go down to the casino floor.
Do a little gambling?
Yeah.
Maybe. Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout-outs. We had Frozen Ghost.
Hey, Ghost.
Blake Miller.
What's going on, Miller?
Leslie.
Hey, Leslie.
Max.
Appreciate that, Max.
Nani X2.
Well, hey, Nani.
Angelique Dupin.
Oh, Angelique.
Lady Mags.
What's going on, Mags?
Melanie Dion.
Dion.
Janelle Meadows.
Hey, Meadows.
Ryoko Lou.
Hey, Lou.
Mrs. Mays.
I appreciate that, Maze.
Laura.
Hey, Laura.
And last but not least, Alicia Lowe.
Alicia.
Yeah, we appreciate the new support. And then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Eileen.
Good old Eileen.
So we appreciate that long-term support as well.
We do.
We have an episode out right now on True Crime All the Time, where we're talking about the murder of Jose Herran. He moved to Pennsylvania in the fall of 2015 to live in a property owned by an old friend. He went missing just a couple of weeks later. But this case went cold. And then later, a police informant in an arson case claimed he knew exactly what happened to Jose. So there's a lot of mystery here that gets unraveled. But it's a good episode. Make sure you check it out.
Fascinating.
All right, buddy, are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am.
We're talking about 3 Florida women who went missing in the 1970s and 80s under suspiciously similar circumstances. Now, these women didn't know each other at all. Their only connection was a man named Cleveland Hill Jr. All 3 women went missing after they ended their relationships with this man.
Suspicious?
Well, I don't know that there's any way around it. Margaret R. Dash was born on December 13th, 1935. In 1973, Margaret and her family attended the Lighthouse Church of Jesus in Largo, Florida, where Cleveland Hill Jr. was a minister. Hill had a violent past. He married his wife, Betty Jean Hillman, when she was only 15. Betty Jean later testified in court. Per the Tampa Bay Times, he was very mean. He beat me every week about once or twice. He called me all kinds of names and made me stay in the house and would dare me to come out. He locked me in.
So physically, emotionally, abusive, mind control.
It also sounds, very controlling as well as abusive. Hill's daughter, Tunisia, claimed that he practiced black magic. He once reportedly kidnapped his wife and took her to a cabin in the woods where he worshiped the devil.
And this is the second episode this week that we're talked about some black magic.
Yeah, there was some black magic involved in the TCAT episode as well. Betty Jean filed for divorce on February 1st, 1968. At this time, Hill was 19 years old and serving in the Air Force. They had a son who was 18 months old. After filing for divorce, Betty Jean moved into her parents' house. On February 5th, Hill shot his wife and his mother-in-law, Josephine Hillman. Hill broke in through the back door, forced the women into the bathroom, and shot them. Josephine was shot twice in the head, once in the left hand, and once in each leg. Betty Jean was shot in the mouth and the back of the head. Hill told Betty Jean before shooting her, "I'm going to have to kill you, or you'll talk." Afterwards, he fled in his vehicle.
Very violent guy.
I mean, yeah, let's just kind of recap this situation. Obviously, he's not happy about the divorce. He shoots his wife and mother-in-law, but he doesn't just shoot his mother-in-law. He shoots her once in the hand, once in each leg, and then twice in the head.
Sounds like maybe he really had some
deep-seated hatred for her, or it almost sounds like he wanted her to suffer before he ended her life. And I think you could say the same thing about Betty Jean. He shot her in the mouth.
Yeah.
Which would be extremely painful.
Is this also one of those things where if I can't have you, nobody's going to have you?
Well, yeah, I would think that's probably part of it, but I don't know what to make of the "I'm going to have to kill you or you'll talk." Talk about what? Other bad things he's done? Shortly after the shooting, a 9-year-old girl was struck by a white car in the Baskin area of Largo. She was unable to identify the driver, but said it was a white car. Hill surrendered to the police in Bluefield, West Virginia on February 6th.
So he was on the run for a little bit there.
Yeah, if by a little bit you mean one day, yes.
I mean by one day.
He was on the run for a little bit, but exactly one day. Hill walked into the police station and said he just learned of the charges against him and wanted to clear himself. He was traveling to Philadelphia on a bus. When he saw an account of the shooting in a newspaper, he called someone in Pinellas County and learned of the warrants out for his arrest. Hill got on the stand and testified that he didn't intend to shoot his wife or her mother. He ordered Josephine Hillman into a bathroom at gunpoint, according to him, so I could get my wife away and talk her into coming back with me.
Well, that's not the way to do it. You know, you want her to come back to you while you have a gun pointed at her. "Hey, baby, I love you. Come back, be with me." Well, of course, she's going to probably say yes. But she's going to say no at that point with a gun pointed at her?
Yeah, that makes no sense, right? On July 18th, Hill was sentenced to 5 years probation. However, he did spend some time in prison for violating probation. 5 years probation when he shot and tried to kill 2 women.
Yeah, it seems absurd. It's just a slap on the wrist.
It's not even a slap on the wrist. To me, it's like somebody, your mom, giving you that finger wag, and telling you, "I'm so disappointed in you. Don't do this, but here's a cookie."
Yeah.
And go on.
Now go on. But they treated a lot of crimes against women like that back then.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, but I think this really highlights it. We're in the 1960s, and during that time frame, before, after, some people would argue still today, but I don't think to this level, crimes against women just have not been handled in the manner which we would deem to be appropriate. I mean, in what world do you shoot and essentially try to kill 2 women and end up with 5 years probation?
Yeah, I mean, it's attempted murder.
It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Hill wrote multiple letters to the judge asking to be released. He wrote in a December 1969 letter, as quoted by the Tampa Tribune, "My biggest problem in life has been women. And I realize this, which makes me know I'm just not ready for that kind of life. And believe me when I say there are far more things important to me now. I'm just a few weeks from being 22 years old, and I want to better my education and make something out of myself." And all of that is good stuff, right? But it doesn't change the fact that, you shot and tried to kill 2 women.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to change that. But Hill was granted parole in 1971.
So he ends up doing a couple years for not even the attempted murder, just for violating his probation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man, what to tell you. If that doesn't make you mad, then I don't really know what does. But then 2 weeks after his release, he remarried Betty Jean, who still had a bullet lodged in the back of her neck. She was a member of a church that did not believe in divorce. Church leaders believed Hill had repented and deserved another chance.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I think when someone holds the gun to you and then ends up shooting you, you don't go back.
No, to me, that's kind of a one strike and you're out thing.
Yeah.
Not 3 strikes, you're out. You don't even get a second strike at that point.
I think whoever you believe in will forgive you for walking away from that marriage.
Hill found religion in prison and, as we talked about, was a minister at the Lighthouse Church of Jesus Christ in Largo. He also owned 2 paving companies and a general store. He appeared to be doing well financially. His family home in Largo had a pool, basketball court, and 5-car garage.
Man, he had a spread.
I don't have a 5-car garage.
No.
And I've not shot and tried to kill 2 women.
Well, he is a changed man, according to him.
Despite the appearance of success, Hill was arrested at least 6 times, from 1974 to 1988, for bad checks, and there were numerous judgments against him. But many people in the community were afraid of Hill, but he was able to win women over with money and charm. He had at least 7 affairs, including the 3 missing women that we're going to talk about.
Sounds like he was a ladies' man.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to say he was able to attract women. Now, charm will do so much, money will do so much. But think about a guy who, is a minister at a church, but many of the people in the community are afraid of him.
Doesn't align with that profession, right?
Doesn't seem to. Court records show that 4 women filed paternity cases against him. Well, when you have at least 7 affairs, there's a chance that, you're going to have at least one, if not multiple, paternity cases brought against you.
I mean, it is kind of a roulette game at that point.
Can you explain exactly how it works so I understand it? One Sunday, Hill came up to Leon Dash at church and apologized for having an affair with his wife, Margaret. All right. I don't know how that church day Sunday goes, because he's the minister, comes up to you and says, you know what? Hey, buddy, I got to tell you, I am so sorry for having an affair with your wife. Now, I don't know if Leon knew that or not. I'm assuming if he didn't know it, that was an even bigger surprise.
Yeah, I don't know how would you take that? I'm just kind of picturing that most people would probably punch the guy out if he said, I had an affair with your wife.
True. But how do you punch the minister out at church? That's not going to be a good look.
No. Plus, people were afraid of him. So.
Yeah, that's true. The thing is, the affair continued for months after this until Margaret decided to end it. Margaret told Leon that when she tried to tell Hill things were over between them, he threatened to kill her. And then Margaret Dash went missing on June 14th, 1974. That morning, Margaret asked her husband Leon what he wanted for dinner, but she never went to the grocery store. She did leave her home in Clearwater to buy medicine for a sick relative, but she was never heard from again. Leon drove around all night looking for his wife and reported her missing the next day. Leon passed a polygraph and was ruled out as a suspect. And then 2 weeks after Leon reported Margaret missing, the Clearwater police closed the investigation. Now, that's not much of an investigation. 2 weeks. I can understand how Leon would be a pretty prime suspect, though.
Yeah, I mean, he learned that his wife was having an affair not too long ago. Maybe he would be the reason why she is missing.
But you also have to think that Cleveland Hill Jr. would be looked at. I mean, if the police learned any of this stuff
Right.
about the affair, about her trying to end it, okay, that puts him in the hot seat as well. But there's no mention of them really even looking into him.
Yeah, because he did tell her, if you end this with me, I'll kill you. At least that's what she told her husband, Leon.
Margaret borrowed her daughter's car when she went out on June 14th. A month later, the white two-door 1971 Oldsmobile Cutlass with a missing left front hubcap was found abandoned in a shopping center parking lot in St. Petersburg, Florida. Oh, the 1970s Oldsmobile Cutlass.
Mean machine.
My dad had a bunch of them. He loved them. He'd buy a new one like every 2 or 3 years. It was a good looking car.
Yeah, I had a 1989 Cutlass Supreme.
Yeah, he bought them in the 70s and 80s for sure. I remember that.
I like mine.
Margaret's family doubted she left of her own free will, especially considering she left $8,000 untouched in her family's checking account. That's a lot of money in the early 70s.
Yeah, you wouldn't leave that behind.
Years later, a police spokesman would say that Cleveland Hill was named as a suspect early on, but there was no substantial information linking him to Margaret's disappearance. And that makes me wonder, Gibbs, if Leon, shared some of this information with police. Because, let's face it, I don't think everyone would want that information to be public knowledge.
Well, that's true.
So it might not have been something he shared, although it would be very pertinent to the investigation.
But I wonder how hard they even looked into Hill, knowing that within 2 weeks, they called the case off.
Yeah, I'm thinking not very hard. Leon Dash hired a PI to follow Hill for a month, but he was never charged. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Happy Mammoth, the brand dedicated to making women's lives easier with science-backed, nature-inspired supplements. One of their best sellers is the prebiotic collagen protein, designed to support gut health and overall well-being. My wife has been taking Happy Mammoth's prebiotic collagen protein, and it's been a real game changer. She's dealt with occasional digestive discomfort, and since adding prebiotic collagen protein, she's noticed a real lift in energy and overall well-being. Most collagen powders on the market only focus on skin, hair, and nails. Happy Mammoth's prebiotic collagen protein goes a step further. It combines grass-fed collagen peptides with prebiotic fibers to help nourish your gut bacteria. It's designed to support not just beauty benefits, but also digestion, energy, cravings, and overall mood. This unique blend means you're not just taking collagen, you're giving your body a complete gut and wellness boost. Right now, you can try prebiotic collagen protein risk-free and get 15% off your entire first order with code UNSOLVED at checkout. That's happymammoth.com. Use code UNSOLVED for 15% off today. Are you struggling to switch off at night? Sometimes my wife and I have trouble with that. Well, Soul's out-of-office gummies and drinks help us relax, quiet our thoughts, and help us fall asleep naturally. They have just the right balance of CBD and THC to ease us into a restful night. And the best part is, no hangovers, no extra calories, none of that. Soul is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Soul specializes in delicious, hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance creativity and relaxation. With 5 different strengths, you can tailor the dose to fit your vibe. From a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their newest 15 milligram gummy for a more elevated experience. Bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Soul today. Right now, Soul is offering our audience 30% off your entire order. Go to getsoul.com and use the code TrueCrime. That's getsoul.com, promo code TrueCrime for 30% off. Years later, another woman who had an affair with Cleveland Hill would go missing. Retha Lee Hiers was born on August 12, 1939. Retha's daughter, Dana, told the Tampa Bay Times she was a pistol who loved fast cars and cooking. I always like when people are described as pistols.
Pistols. She's a pistol.
You just know that they're a little fiery, excitable.
Yeah.
energetic. It's kind of what I think. Retha was in a relationship with Howard Hiers for 25 years. They had 6 children together, but didn't get married until September 1982. Before the wedding, Howard caught Retha in Cleveland Hill having an affair. Hill was a family friend of the Hiers.
It's going to kind of put a damper on the wedding.
Yeah, when you find out right before the wedding. Retha's neighbor and friend Barbara Floyd told the Tampa Tribune that Hill was always taking Retha to nice places and buying her jewelry. Retha tried to end her life by a drug overdose after Howard found out. She survived and Howard agreed to marry her. Retha told him she had ended things with Hill. But then Retha went missing on December 28, 1982, from her home at the Breakers Apartments in Largo.
I'm having that vibe that Hill's one of those guys that if I can't have you, nobody can have you. I'm not saying he did this, but we know that he has that streak in him.
Well, let's just say this. If he did commit these murders, I think it would be for that reason. Doesn't like to be rejected, can't handle the rejection. And like you said, there's a control aspect to many people, right? Okay, you don't want to be with me? You're not going to be with anybody else.
Right.
Because I'm going to end your life. Unfortunately, we've seen it time and time again. Retha tried to convince Howard to sleep in, but he wanted to go pick up a motorcycle that was meant to be a Christmas gift for their son. Howard took several of the kids with him. Dana Hiers recalled to Tampa Bay 28, "My dad was at the back door, getting in the truck, and my dad asked my mom, 'Retha, are you going to be here when I get back?' She said, 'Yes, Howard, I'll be here.' I can remember her just waving by, telling us she loved us. It was the last time I saw her." And, we talk about the last conversation, the last interaction, and how that gets seared into people's brains. And you can tell that this interaction, being the last one she ever had with her mother, it was seared into Dana's.
Yeah. You're not going to forget a moment like that.
No, especially, after that person ends up missing. When Howard returned home, another daughter told him Retha went to the store to buy washing powder. It was supposed to be a quick errand, but she never returned. The following day, Howard received a letter from Retha informing him she had left to be with Cleveland Hill. She wanted him to have custody of the kids. According to Howard, the letter essentially said that she was gone and she didn't want him to look for her.
I'm gone. I'm out of here. You got the 6 kids. Good luck.
Which is so strange given what we just talked about, right? Yes, she was having an affair, but she broke it off. Howard agreed to marry her.
Right.
She was so broken up about it, she tried to end her life.
Yeah.
And then, the two of them have 6 kids together. They have this interaction that seems to be very cordial, like they're doing great. And then all of a sudden he gets a letter that says, "Hey, I'm running off with Cleveland Hill. You can have the kids." It just doesn't seem to line up with how things were going at that point.
But it feels like anything Cleveland Hill touches doesn't turn out well.
Anything or anyone. After Retha went missing, Howard approached Cleveland Hill and asked where she was. Hill said Retha left with a white man, and he had no idea where she went. Howard saw it and was granted a divorce on the grounds of adultery. Retha's white 2-door 1976 Ford Elite was found in March 1983 in an apartment complex parking lot in Clearwater. Retha was never seen or heard from again.
Just seems bizarre, that she would leave her family of 6 kids behind, never to talk to them ever again.
Oh, and I always feel that way. But what do you make of Howard going to talk to Cleveland? Cleveland says, I don't know, she left with a white guy. How does he know who she left with?
Yeah, I mean, he could be making it up. Maybe he saw her get in a car with this guy and leave. I don't know, but it's not believable.
No, because if she had, cut things off with him, and we're assuming that because that's what she had said, Even if she was going to run off with another guy, why would she do it in the presence of him?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. 7 years later, a third woman who had an affair with Cleveland Hill went missing. Donyelle Johnson was born on November 14th, 1967. She was only 21 years old when she went missing. Donyelle had an affair with Cleveland Hill that lasted months. A friend of Donyelle's told the Tampa Tribune that Hill used money and gifts to entice her into a sexual relationship. They met through Hill's cousin, whom Donyelle had also dated. Hill gave Donyelle up to $600 each time they went out, which was about twice a week. The friend said she was just going to get what she could get and then get out. Several months into the relationship, Hill purchased a $22,000 car for Donyelle.
I mean, we're talking about a lot of money.
A $22,000 car in the 80s? That seems like a pretty good amount of money for a car. I mean, what is that? A Cadillac? Maybe? I'm trying to think of what that would be.
And then $600 every time they went out, twice a week, $1,200 a week.
Yeah, and to me, that giving someone $600 every time you go out, that sounded eerily like prostitution.
Escort fee?
Escort fee. I'm not saying that's what it was, but it sounded like that.
I mean, when I did my escorting,
you had to pay the women.
It was weird. I thought for sure I would collect.
Yeah, I'm imagining you as sort of a Deuce Bigelow type character.
I don't want to say I have to agree with you, but I might have to agree with you.
So he bought this pretty expensive car for her. Donyelle's parents learned about the affair and told her to return the car. By the time she went missing, Donyelle was afraid of Hill and wanted to end the relationship. She told her father that Hill said he could make people disappear.
Well, if what he's saying is actually true, that kind of goes back to at least two people we know
who did disappear.
Yeah. After they decided they didn't want to be with him anymore.
So it's not inconceivable that he could be telling the truth about that. Donyelle's father, Mac Johnson, told the Tampa Tribune she was scared out of her wits. She knew this man Hill didn't want to let her out of his web. That night, Johnson spent 6 hours talking to Hill at his corner store. Johnson recalled he had the nerve to look me in the face and tell me he was in love with my daughter. I said, man, give my daughter a chance. She's just a kid. Hill made it very plain to me he always gets his way.
And if he doesn't, it sounds like he takes care of things.
Well, I mean, you got to feel for this guy as a father. He's trying to look out for his daughter. But what can he do at this point? I mean, he can't just shoot this guy.
No. Thinking
he might do something bad. And then if he does do something bad, then it's too late. It's a very tough position to be in.
And, we know that Hill has a way to intimidate people in the community. People felt afraid of him. He had money, and he had a reputation that, according to him, he can make people disappear.
A few days before Donyelle went missing, Hill visited her family's home, and Donyelle's father told him to leave her alone. Hill replied, well, you better enjoy your daughter, because this may be the last time you see her. And if that's not a threat, I don't know what is. But again, what can Mac Johnson do? Yeah, you could get into, a fight with this guy.
Right.
You could have words with him, but you can't pull out a gun and shoot him.
No, just because he's threatening.
Yeah. So he is in a tough spot. Now, afterwards, I'm sure he wished he would have. Donyelle went missing on April 4th, 1989. She remained at home after her parents went to work, but she talked to her mom on the phone. She said she was afraid because Hill threatened her. Juanita Johnson told her daughter not to leave the house. Donyelle was last seen leaving her home to attend class at St. Petersburg Junior College in Clearwater. She never made it. That day, Donyelle's 1987 Nissan Pulsar was found abandoned behind a Hardee's restaurant at Belcher Road and East Bay Drive in Largo. A man who identified himself as Johnny Bailey called a towing company to report that the vehicle was having trouble and needed to be towed. Bailey has never been identified.
Kind of mysterious.
Yeah, I mean, you think when the police start their investigation, they're going to want to find this Johnny Bailey. And when you can't find him, I mean, what do you have to suspect? And to me, it's that the person who called this in gave a fake name. Now, could that have been Cleveland Hill Jr.?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
We don't know. What we do know is that all that was wrong with the vehicle was a loose battery connection.
Well, if you want somebody to need a ride home or call you to come pick them up, that's one way to do it, right?
So is it inconceivable that, you could envision a scenario where someone, and we'll say possibly Cleveland Hill Jr., we don't know, could loosen the battery connection, follow at a distance, and then act as though, they just happen to see that this person they know is having car trouble. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all.
No, and say, let me look at it. Oh, yep, it's something wrong with your car. Go ahead and get in mine. I'll take you home.
And I'll call the tow truck company for you.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to use my real name because I already have it in my head that something bad is going to happen to you. On April 6, 1989, Mac Johnson reported his daughter missing. That day, he received a letter from Donyelle saying she was involved with drugs and was moving to Orlando to straighten out her life. Handwriting experts later concluded Donyelle did write this letter.
But did she write the letter freely?
And that's the question, right? Because we had Retha apparently writing a letter to her husband, Howard, saying that she had left to be with Cleveland Hill. And you wonder the same thing. If it was her handwriting, did she write it voluntarily or was she forced to write it?
But if you can force them to write something like that, because, hey, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill you. If you don't do this, I'm going to kill your kids or I'm going to kill your dad or whatever method they use to get somebody to write one of these letters. What does that letter do for that suspect? It takes the pressure off them, and the police think, oh, this is just somebody that left voluntarily to start a life somewhere else. No reason to continue looking.
I think the problem I have with that is if Retha was forced to write the letter by Cleveland Hill Jr., why would it say that she left with Cleveland? Wouldn't it be better to have her write that she left with someone else to completely remove him from any suspicion?
Well, that's true. And maybe in her case, she did leave her husband to go be with Cleveland. And after she was with him, decided she didn't want that anymore. And maybe Cleveland didn't like that she was leaving him for another man.
Donyelle has never been heard from again. And once again, Cleveland Hill was considered a person of interest. Hill told the police he befriended Donyelle, whom he said was heavily involved in cocaine trafficking and possibly living in Orlando. He said he was going there on business and would try to find her and tell her to call the police.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's playing Good Samaritan.
Well, he is a pillar of the community.
Homes.com knows that when it comes to home shopping, it's never just about the house or condo. It's about the home. And what makes a home is more than just the house or property. It's the location and the neighborhood. If you have kids, it's also schools, nearby parks, and transportation options. That's why Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth information they need to find the right home. And when I say in-depth, I'm talking deep. Each listing features comprehensive information about the neighborhood, complete with a video guide. They also have details about local schools with test scores, state rankings, and student-to-teacher ratio. They even have an agent directory with the sales history of each agent. So when it comes to finding a home, not just a house, this is everything you need to know, all in one place. Homes.com. We've done your homework. Donyelle's friend asked Hill's cousin what happened to her. He responded, "She's safe. You want to go where she is?" The friend was going to take him up on it, but her mother warned her not to because she feared she would end up missing her dead. And I do think that's a little bit of a loaded question. You want to go where she is. Well, if she's not alive, that's not a good place to go.
No, you have to think about that question.
Hill's cousin was interviewed 3 times in the summer of 1989, but declined knowing anything. Hill was still married to Betty Jean at this time. She once asked Hill about the missing women. He allegedly told her, "If you keep messing with me, I will tell you what happened to those women. I can make people disappear."
I mean, he has no problem making threats.
And telling people he can make others disappear. The women's disappearances divided the community. Many were certain of Hill's involvement. Hill distributed flyers casting blame on the families. This prompted Donyelle's family to print a counter handout in August 1989 calling Hill a murderer. Okay, I'm not sure either one of those is good, but if you're Hill, why in the hell would you distribute flyers placing blame on the families?
Because I'm guessing the chatter on the street was he was involved and he didn't like that. So he thought, let me send out some letters putting the heat on the family.
But they find out that you did that, it's not going to make you look good.
No, especially if you're supposed to be a preacher, minister of a church. Doesn't seem like that's the right thing to do.
Oh, that plus the 7 affairs or however many it was. In police interviews, Hill maintained that he knew the missing women, but wasn't romantically involved with them. However, investigative reports noted that he dated them. Hill told the news outlet WTSP in 1989, maybe they just left. And granted, right, that is a possibility in almost every unsolved case where someone's body does not turn up.
Yeah.
The possibility exists that they just decided to leave and start a new life.
It would be very strange that all 3 of these women that he was involved with decided to leave voluntarily.
Yeah, I think that would be more than a coincidence, for sure. Retired Sheriff's Detective Jerry Harper said he had many run-ins with Hill over the years. According to Harper, I tell him, Cleve, one day someone is going to dig up one of those women and I'm going to nail you. He would just laugh at me. So I don't think it's a stretch to say that law enforcement, at least some people, really thought he had something to do with this. Lieutenant Norman Romanowski, chief homicide detective, said it was possible but not likely. The women left on their own, telling the Tampa Tribune, there's no reason for any of these women to walk off the face of the earth. There's no reason why they'd be missing.
Well, no reason for all 3 of them. I think that's a far stretch.
Yes. I mean, normally even one doesn't make a lot of sense, but all 3 of these women, no. Authorities were never able to gather enough evidence to charge Hill, and potential witnesses were reluctant to talk.
Well, I wonder why.
Because he had a really bad reputation, right? On June 23rd, 1990, a man claiming to be a confidential informant contacted detectives and told them that an inmate at Zephyr Hills Correctional Institute could tell them where the bodies were buried. Detectives interviewed inmate Joseph Crawford, who believed talking about the women could jeopardize his children's safety. Crawford said that Hill has the power to get anyone, any place, at any time.
That's a lot of power.
Yeah, and I think it just shows you how scared a lot of people were of this guy. Crawford previously worked for Hill and saw him dig a large hole before dawn one morning. He wouldn't say where it was or anything else he saw. Okay, so he's giving them some information, but he's not being specific, I believe, because he's worried about his children's safety, I guess.
But when he says, I saw him dig a big hole, was that a grave site?
Possibly, but I guess my thing is, why even bring it up at all if you're not going to give police specifics?
Yeah.
You're not really giving them enough to work with, so why even say you have information for them? In September 1990, Cleveland Hill and 16 others were arrested in a drug bust called Operation Real Thing. Undercover FBI agents and sheriff's deputies traded 5,000 cases of Coca-Cola Classic for 350 pieces of crack cocaine and $13,000. One of Hill's partners owned a vending company in Tampa and planned to sell the sodas in his machines.
5,000 cases of Coke. That's a lot.
Yeah. Is it worth 350 pieces of crack and $13,000? I guess so.
Yeah, I just don't know what the street value of crack cocaine was at that time.
No, and I don't know how much Coke cost back then either.
I'm going to give you some Coke, and you're going to give me the crack Coke.
But it is funny, right? Operation Real Thing.
Yeah.
That part is funny. The police spoke to Betty Jean Hillman the day her husband was arrested. She said they had argued about his involvement with the missing women, but he denied knowing anything. In July 1992, Cleveland Hill was found guilty of conspiracy to distribute cocaine, a firearms violation, and 4 counts of drug possession. He was sentenced to 19 years in federal prison. In an October 1992 report, a detective wrote that she received information from an FBI agent who worked the sting operation resulting in Hill's arrest. An informant told the agent that he overheard Hill tell someone on the phone to get rid of the bitch just like before, between December 1988 and January 1989. The informant later noticed a large pool of blood in the cooler area of Hill's general store.
I mean, to hear someone on the phone say, get rid of the bitch just like before.
Yeah, it's tough. Is that going to hold up in court? Probably not.
Not good enough information.
No, but I think when you put it with all the other stuff, it seems to be pretty damning. What about this large pool of blood in your general store?
Yeah, what's that from?
Unfortunately, police were unable to locate the informant. The families of the missing women were unhappy with how the investigation was handled. Margaret Dash's son, Leon, told the Tampa Tribune, "I just don't think they tried to find her at the time."
I kind of believe that, right? I mean, it was only 2 weeks that the investigation occurred.
Into her?
Yeah.
I thought that was ridiculous. Her husband, Leon, convinced the police to re-examine the case in late 1992. On January 26, 1993, Leon showed an officer 2 vacant lots in the Baskins area of Largo, where Cleveland Hill allegedly buried a body. In April, officials excavated the back of a lot next to 1201 Baskins Crossing, but found nothing other than trash and chicken bones. People in the community believe police dug in the wrong spot. Retired Detective Jerry Harper received a tip that the body was buried directly behind the building, not next to it. That area had been paved over. Okay, well, if you're digging in the wrong spot, then you're probably not going to find what you're looking for.
Yeah, don't dig just to dig in the right spot. Yeah, is it going to be expensive to replace that pavement? Yeah, but that's where you were told the body might be.
That year, the Tampa Tribune published a lengthy piece on the missing women. The Tribune tried to interview Hill. He agreed to do it as long as his lawyer was present, but his lawyer declined the interview, saying, "A fish who doesn't open his mouth doesn't get caught."
I mean, that's like saying, my guy did it, but you're not going to know he did it because I'm not going to let him talk to you.
Yeah, that's a strange thing for a lawyer to say. You just say, "No, I've advised my client not to do the interview."
Yeah.
A fish who doesn't open his mouth doesn't get caught. Maybe you should look at getting a new attorney. The Tribune reported on the women who filed paternity cases against Hill. One woman who spoke to the Times asked to remain anonymous because she was acquainted with the family. She said she met Hill at church and started dating him when she was 17. She had a child with him in 1986. She said, "At first, I was real scared of him. He had ladies missing." However, she said she saw a different side of him. He paid for her groceries, and if he saw her while sitting at a stoplight, he would open his car window and wave her over with cash. He also paid for her apartment. She said, he said one time that he was going to buy all the land up in Largo and put a big fence around it and just have him and his women and children in there.
A little compound or a big compound, I guess.
his women and children.
Yeah.
How many women and how many children are we talking about?
Wonder how his wife felt about that comment.
Yeah. Now, she did say Hill was violent with her once. He backhanded her in the face while wearing a ring, which gave her a black eye. He threatened her by saying, "I'll have your mama looking for your last tracks."
Well, he was definitely good at threatening people.
But all his threats seemed to kind of hint at the fact that he had either killed or made others disappear before.
Yeah, they sure did.
Felicia Bell had 2 children with Hill in 1983 and 1984. He put her up in a house for more than a year and discouraged her from contacting her family. Bell said Hill would use manipulation to isolate her. He would start playing with your mind. And then when he finished, you don't want to go.
Well, he was very controlling. We know that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing here is the amount of money that he had, Gibbs, allowed him to do certain things that many people couldn't do, right? Lavish money and gifts upon these women, buy them cars, put them up in houses. I mean, most people can't do that.
No, I guess in some sense they felt grateful.
Maybe. I mean, who doesn't want a new car?
Yeah.
But I think at some point, it sounds as if all of them encountered the violent side of Cleveland Hill Jr. Bell had an affair with Hill around the time Retha Hiers went missing in 1982. She told WTSP in 1989, "If he can't control you or you start to pull away, he'll find somebody else he can control." And I think that's a very telling statement. The control aspect, I don't think can be overlooked. You know, with some of these men, they're all about the control.
Yeah.
Everything is centered around them wanting to control pretty much every aspect of these people's lives.
And we know he was like that, in his early adulthood. When he was 19, 20, he was controlling his wife at that time.
But as always, it's the point where these type of people lose the control, right? Where they can get extremely dangerous. Cleveland Hill was released from prison in 2008 and moved to Virginia. In January 2018, investigators flew to Appomattox, Virginia to speak to Hill, who was in hospice with stage 4 prostate cancer. The visit was their last shot. At trying to get a confession, the detectives even put his son on speakerphone. But Hill said he didn't know what happened to the missing women. And then he died 2 months later. And I'm sure that must have been a blow for them, knowing that this guy was on his deathbed. They probably thought they had a really good chance at getting him to say something.
Maybe he'll come clean, set the record straight.
But then when he doesn't, and then he later dies, that must be a sinking feeling because you're never going to get another shot at talking with this guy.
And if you believe he had something to do with their disappearances,
then some of that information, went to the grave with him.
Yeah.
On June 28th, 2022, detectives with the Pinellas County Cold Case Unit conducted an excavation at 1201 Gooden Crossing in Largo. They received several tips of possible human remains at the property formerly owned by Cleveland Hill Jr. The empty lot was slated to be used for a Habitat for Humanity build that was put on hold. It was confirmed that the excavation only involved Retha Hiers' case. Dana Hiers told Fox 13 he owned this lot. He owned the building that was here. During the time he was in a relationship with my mother, he owned this property. I pray it is the end. If it's not the end, then we move on. And at least I don't have to ride by this area anymore thinking that she's here.
That would be rough.
It would be. Investigators chipped away at a large concrete slab, but all they found was a teddy bear. Dana Hiers believes Cleveland Hill was involved in all 3 disappearances, telling Tampa Bay 28, every woman who he got involved with. I heard they tried to break off the relationship and then they disappear. They just disappear, so I know he had something to do with it. Foul play is suspected in all 3 cases. And like we said in the beginning, right? The missing women didn't know each other. Authorities found no link between them other than Cleveland Hill, who was never charged with their disappearances. If you have information about the disappearance of Retha Hiers or Donyelle Johnson, call the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office at 727-582-6200. If you have information about the disappearance of Margaret Dash, call the Clearwater Police Department at 727-562-4080.
Well, this Cleveland Hill, had a way of casting his shadow over all three of these.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Now, as we wrap this thing up, to me, with Cleveland Hill Jr. deceased, I don't have any problem with saying that it seems more likely than not to me that this man had something to do with the disappearance of these three women at the very least.
Right.
You go back to him shooting his wife and his mother-in-law. He obviously was a very violent person, could be very violent. People in the community were afraid of him. He told how many people that he could make others disappear.
True.
He threatened Donyelle Johnson's father. I think he threatened at least a couple of other people. It's just, there's just so much smoke here. It would be tough not to think there's some fire behind it.
For me, it's unlikely that it wouldn't be him.
Yeah. Now, is there a possibility that you've got some stranger abduction, possible murders here? Yeah, it's possible. But the fact that all three of these women had relationships with him, they disappeared not long after ending the relationships with him. That takes me back to him being a controlling person, him feeling as though he was losing control of these women at that point and not being able to live with it, therefore deciding they couldn't live.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you could theorize.
To me, it goes back to when he attempted to kill his wife the first time.
Yeah. He thought he was losing control, right?
Yeah. And if I can't have you, nobody's going to have you. And I think that's his theme.
I do not think this was a good person. Was he a minister? Yeah. But obviously he wasn't practicing what he preached, hence the 7 affairs.
Yeah.
I think that's somewhere in the Bible, right? Don't covet your neighbor's wife or whatever that one is.
Yeah.
You're breaking that commandment for sure. And then I truly believe he was involved in some way.
Yeah.
I do. But that's it for our episode on the women who vanished and Cleveland Hill's shadow. We got a voicemail, Gibbs. You want to check that out?
Let's hear it.
Hi, Mike and Gibby. This is Michelle calling from Geelong in Australia. Just thought I would ring up with a couple of ideas for some stories. They're really quite infamous in Australia. One is a slightly older one. It's the Beaumont children. There was 3 children that were kidnapped. It's a really big story. And the second one is a real tragic one of the murder of Anita Cobby. I would love if you looked into those and to find out the story behind it. But anyway, I just want to say thanks for what you do. Love you both. And keep your head on a swivel and keep your own time ticking. Bye.
Oh, good day. Appreciate the voicemail. Razor blades, razor blades, razor lights. What that guy say? Razor blades, razor lights. When he back in the day, he said, "If you want to
rise up lights,
razor blades or
rise
razor
up
lights,
rise up lights." I think is what it is.
Yeah.
But you can't say it. I'm trying to say it very slow for you to understand it, but I don't think you can say it slow like that.
We love our listeners from Australia.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite accents.
Yeah, you've always been a big fan of that accent.
Not yours so much, but the actual real people who live in Australia.
I think people like my accent. I think they said it's like spot on.
I think they tolerate it. I don't know if love. Maybe they do. Maybe some people do. Yeah, those are two cases. I could have sworn that we did the Beaumont children. I'll have to go back and look. I don't know if we did Anita Cobby, but I think Morph and I did on criminology for sure. You and I may have too, but I'll have to go back and look.
Definitely sounds familiar.
But that's it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
This October, Fear is free on Pluto TV with horror movie collections from Paranormal Activity, The Ring,
You will die in 7 days.
Scream, and From Dusk Till Dawn.
This is my kind of place.
And don't miss the man-made nightmares in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or the world-ending chaos in 28 Days Later.
Something in the blood.
All the scares, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.